Will the real estate market crash in 2021? Are we in a real estate bubble? Experts say no.
Well, nobody asked me.
In the Great Recession over a decade ago, a lot happened where the major banks failed because of poor mortgage making policy. And a lot of companies went bankrupt, like Lehman Brothers. Remember them? So the financial crisis that rattled the economy in the last year and a half with the pandemic also put a hardship on a lot of businesses, especially small businesses. But it seems like things are kind of coming back, and it didn't rattle the world financially.
That damn demic was awful for a lot of us.
So why is there such a drastic difference between 2008 and now?
So now you're asking me.
In a post from RealtyTrac, they explain, we changed the rules. We told the banks they needed more reserves and they could no longer underwrite toxic mortgages. Shocking. It turns out that regulation, properly done, can help us navigate financial minefields. Now here's the results of that regulation in a graph showing bank failures year over year. I am really surprised at the huge numbers during the Great Recession and almost no failures now. That's very encouraging.
Well, if we could just get underwriters to quit thinking like they're in 2011 and start thinking like they're in 2021 when they're
underwriting loans. Now that would be an accomplishment. Welcome to the future, dummies.
Here's 4 expert opinions from professionals and organizations. The Joint Center for Housing Studies in the State of the Nation's report said, conditions today are quite different than the early 2000s, particularly in terms of credit availability. The current climb in house prices instead reflects strong demand amid tight supply, helped along by low interest rates that are record-breaking lows. Nathaniel Karp,
Chief U.S. economist at BBVA, which is a bank. The housing market is in line with fundamentals as interest rates are attractive and incomes are high due to fiscal stimulus, making debt servicing relatively affordable and allowing buyers to qualify for larger mortgages. Underwriting standards are still strong, so there is little risk of a bubble developing. Interesting. Mark Fleming, chief economist at First American,
that's a large title company.
Looking back at the bubble years, house price exceeded house buying power in 2006 nationally. But today, house buying power is nearly twice as high as the median sale price nationally.
Look at this video here that I did last week about what happened year to date this year versus year to date last year and 2019. It's nuts.
Wait, aren't you gonna quote me?
All right, go ahead. All right, so the bottom line is none of us know what's going to happen in the future, right? We can guess based on what we see in the current marketplace. Locally, notice of defaults, which are foreclosures, are very, very low in the South Bay, as well as pending short sales and also current forbearances on mortgages. These 4 people who were very smart and do what they do, they also agree that with me, of course they're agreeing with me, that this market does not look like it's going to crash anytime soon. There's always going to be a change, but that's usually a 10-year cycle, and we're in year like 15 of the 10-year cycle, so it's going to happen eventually, just not this year. But now is still a great time to sell your house and to buy a house because of the ridiculously low interest rates. We're still in the high 2% and low 3s, 30-year fixed mortgages, which is ridiculous. That is what's fueling this madness currently. So call me when you're ready to move. Ciao.
Does anybody use the phone anymore?